Just three ordinary people from the hills of eastern Kentucky. We don't have all the answers, but we do have all the questions. This is the Just Add Bourbon Podcast with Jimmy Don, JD, and Don. Welcome, everybody, to the Just Add Bourbon Podcast. I'm Jimmy Don Kerr.
I'm Dawn Giesica.
And I'm JD Dameron. What's going on?
It is another beautiful Sunday evening here in the hills of eastern Kentucky, and we've got a great show for you this week. JD is primed up and ready to go on this Sunday afternoon. Guys, how's our week been? Dawn, we'll start with you. Look at you. You're looking all fancy.
Look at me. I know. Well,
yeah, sitting out.
We're in Knoxville for this week. Weather's been great. Had a bunch of doctor's appointments to go to before school gets started and all that good stuff. So, yeah, doing good. Shooting from the country club this evening with all of our friends in the background. So, yeah, we're excited.
Right on. JD, how was your week, sir?
So my week was really, really good. I miss my girl. She didn't come up. I didn't get to go down. Like I miss her, like I do, for real. But I had my birthday Friday. Turned 42 years old. I got a lot of messages, a lot of people reaching out to me, telling me happy birthday, which is always cool. Got to go to the Martin County High School football game last night, the scrimmage game. They kicked the shit out of Floyd Central, so I'm always happy about that. And so, I had a good week. We got a lot of stuff accomplished at work, and that's all I got going on, really. Yeah. What about you, Jimmy Don?
Man, my week is always hectic. You know how it is. Trying to put people in debt, giving them that American dream. But no, it was a really busy week and it was hectic. A lot of stuff going on. The girls are all over the place right now. You can tell we're hopefully coming out of COVID. Hopefully we don't go back where we were, because it's dance, it's volleyball, it is soccer. Like, it is on like Donkey Kong right now, as far as Amy and I having to run with the kids. So it's crazy.
Doesn't it feel so good though to be crazy?
Yeah, it does, because I was really bored. Being bored does not suit me,
Yeah.
And then I read too many comic books when I'm sitting around. It's it's just like I need to. I mean, which is fun. I enjoy that, but I like it in short spurts where I like my hair to be on fire. Like, I like to be bouncing off the wall. That's how I like to operate. So
I did buy me something really cool last night. I bought me a fifth of Jefferson's Ocean bourbon, which
Really?
I've not tried yet. I'm not busted into it yet. It was on sale for $100 at Top Cat. I ended up offering the guy $85, and he took it, so I bought it for myself for my birthday.
Well, cool.
Wow.
So, yeah, I'm not.
Did you guys watch that on Netflix? It's some kind of documentary series, but it was about the bourbon heist at Buffalo Trace.
About Pappy's, yeah, I think.
Yeah, they were stealing they were stealing everything. Like, I mean, It was insane.
I haven't watched it yet. No, I have not watched it. But
No, I haven't got to watch it either.
Yeah, let me make a recommendation. If you like that kind of thing, it's Kentucky-based, but it is, about the bourbon heist, the Pappy heist that was, that happened. It's called The Heist. Yeah, Rundle just said it's called The Heist. Yeah. But yeah, it's really, really good. And, talks a lot about our state, and it's interesting how it happened. And it makes you question how in the hell that could happen. Like, how the amounts that they were stealing, it was insane. Yeah, it was crazy. So let's jump in. Yeah, it is. You ought to watch it. It's really good. So let's jump into the topics this week. The Olympics finished up today, or, the closing ceremonies are today. And, America, did very well like they always do. I think they led the medal count. The, NBA team finished up with the gold for the men and women. But I think the story of this Olympics that will carry on for some time is Simone Biles and her pulling out of competition when she was obviously expected to go over and just dominate. And if you watched any of the preliminaries when they were warming up, you could tell she was off. Something was wrong. She wasn't finishing well. And there's a couple of different stories, I think, there with how they were scoring her differently than they were other people. I'd heard that she was being scored differently. But, JD, I want to start with you on this one because you're a former coach. You're a former athlete. What was your take on Simone Biles pulling out of competition?
Let me take a deep breath real quick. because, man, I've heard so much, and I'm going to tell you, I've never competed on the level of like Simone Biles, who is, let me say this very clearly, the best in the world. She's the best. And I thought that's what the Olympics were about, was figuring out who the best was, where they come from, who they represent. And at the end of the day, every day, that's Simone Biles in gymnastics on the floor. That lady is going to destroy everybody. To set up a scoring system for her that is different from everybody else tells you how amazing she is. I got into a discussion about this earlier in the week where someone said you wouldn't like your quarterback pulling out of a football game if you was in the middle of the game, the quarterback pulled out. And that's true. I would not. But I also would have a real problem if the referee said, hey, the other quarterback can throw as far as he wants to, but your quarterback can only throw this. He can only throw 5 yards deep. Like, the conversation has shifted from what I think it should be to where it is now. And, you know, we talk about Simone Biles pulling out of the Olympics because of her mental health. And everybody's like, oh, we should talk about mental health. We should talk about how important it is. And then somebody does something for the mental health. And what happens? They get blasted. They get absolutely roasted. So I don't know anybody that has the resume to say that Simone Biles is mentally weak or less than. This is a lady who, you know, was the face of a sexual assault case, you know, a major sexual assault case with the University of Michigan doctor, you know, sexually assaulting all those girls. And then she went and won gold in 2020, or I think it's 2019, actually. I think we got to push back. What was it? 2017?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, last year's when the
2015. Got to push back, right?
Yeah.
So she won gold. So her legacy as the best in the world is not to be questioned at this point. Mm-hmm. And for her to be set on a different point scale as everybody else, not even knowing what it is, tells you how amazing she is. It's just frustrating to try to have, not even try, but to have to defend somebody with the ability of Simone Biles. It's incredibly, incredibly frustrating. That lady has all of it, and we are just peasants living in her world.
Mm-hmm.
Dawn, what do you think about, you know, about just the whole thing?
Oh gosh, I agree with everything that JD said. And listen, Simone Biles has
Write that down, everybody.
She has she has nothing to prove. Nothing to prove. Nobody can beat her. She's top at her game. She's top at her sport. The girl said that she had a case of twisties. I don't know if you guys know what twisties is, but it's evidently where you I guess when you're doing gymnastics, you lose your footing in the air and you don't know where you're going to land. That's dangerous. I mean, she's not doing a sport that's easy peasy. She could get hurt. She could be paralyzed. She could be paralyzed for the rest of her life or even killed. I have no problem with her pulling out. I mean, I get everybody saying that she's a quitter and she let us down and stuff like that. I'll be honest with you. I don't watch the Olympics anymore. I don't watch things that get overly hyped and politicized. I don't watch it, don't care about it. They don't do anything for my life. They don't bring anything to it. I like to root for them. I like to root for my country. But when it comes to hosting the pandemic or hosting the Olympics during the pandemic, you know, it wasn't anything that I was interested in this year.
So let me add, and then I've got a question. So for anybody, and this is just my opinion, and you know how those are. For anybody to criticize her toughness after what that girl's been through,
right,
with the sexual assault, it's ridiculous. Like, that is one of the toughest women on this planet because she was the face of that, of the sexual assault with the Olympic team doctor. Then, and the way that she trains and the athlete that she is, I mean, she dominated the last Olympics. I mean, dominated so much so that they reset the scoring for her. That is insane.
Right.
I mean,
so
that is. Yeah,
she has nothing to prove. Nothing to
she
prove
has absolutely
whatsoever.
nothing to prove. She's the greatest gymnast that has ever lived in U.S. history and maybe Olympic history.
That's right.
she had absolutely nothing to prove. But I think Don brought up an interesting point about the Olympics itself, because there's a lot of people who haven't watched the Olympics this year.
I didn't watch a single event.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah, it's the lowest rated Olympics. Nobody's watching.
Is that right?
See, I watched it every night.
Yeah, nobody's watching except Jimmy Don.
I love the Olympics. I watched it every night.
No, I usually do too. But it's like, listen to me, bro. Listen to me. The U.S. curling team fascinates me. Those guys, they look like they just came out of the burger joint. They had a few beers.
Yeah, they do. They look like a bunch of dads.
Did they win?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I thought that was a winter sport. No.
Oh, okay. So maybe it's a winter sport.
I think that's a winter sport.
This is just Summer Olympics. Okay.
Yeah, this was just the summer. Now, handball was my hands down favorite new sport, and the U.S. has never medaled in that, so we've got to get it going. Gym teachers in our gym classes, let's start playing some handball because that looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, I don't even know anything about it.
But no, I mean, like, I watched it every night. Now, I love the Olympics. Amy and I both love the Olympics. We would sit down in the evenings and watch. Now, one of the reasons I watched was because Kentucky, the University of Kentucky, if they were their own country, would have placed 23rd in the medal count. We had Sydney McLaughlin, which was the face of track and field, won 2 gold. Our basketball team had 3 Kentucky players on it. The person who won the fencing was from Kentucky. Yeah. Rifle was from the University of Kentucky. So it was a big, big, deal for the University of Kentucky. We become like, what does McLaughlin do? The jump where they run and they hurdles. Kentucky is like Hurdle U.
So one name I haven't heard this year is Usain Bolt. What's the deal?
He retired.
Yeah, I don't think he's doing.
He didn't run. Yeah, he retired.
That American run that fast is crazy, right?
Well, they run so fast and are in such good shape. But JD, talk a little bit about, you didn't watch it just probably because you were busy. But what do you think about, because you hear that a lot anymore, that the NFL, the NBA, like NBA ratings are down because of the politicization, I can't talk. You know what I'm trying to say. Yes, thank you. The drunk guy got the word. What am I supposed to do? No.
This is here number 12, by the way. 0 for today.
But what do you think about that as a whole? Because that is really a topic across sports that, the politicizing everything these days, and sports for a lot of people is a time to get away.
Yeah, I think it's a real thing. I definitely think it's a real thing. A lot of people are turning away from, Leonardo DiCaprio. I know people personally who don't watch Leonardo DiCaprio movies because he was anti-co. And I don't have no problem with that, man. If people want to make a statement by not tuning in, I think it's the best statement to make. If you want to shut down Walmarts and stop them from shutting down mom and pop stores in your area, don't shop there. That's the best way to make a statement. It's definitely a fraction of the population that can make an impact on the way things are politicized. And I think they ought to. I think their voices are just as credible as anybody else's voices. And I think they ought to be heard and recognized. That's it.
Well,
then they can't complain when their ratings are low.
Yeah,
and honestly, no, they are. And they're hypocrites, too. You have LeBron James, who acts like he's this big, human rights advocate and whatever. And then all of his stuff that comes from Nike comes from China, where the labor laws aren't grand.
Right. But
then let's talk guns. That's right. I'm going to feel it too, JD, tonight. Let's talk guns with LeBron James and all these athletes too. They don't want regular people to have guns, but yet they live in gated communities surrounded by armed guards. So back to the Olympics. I don't watch mainly because it's all changed. You guys know it's changed. Honestly, did you watch it years ago? We all did, right? We were excited. But now I don't really, other than Simone Biles, I did want to watch her, and I was disheartened when she said that she had to step down, but I understood it. I don't watch them because I get everything highlighted on technology like you guys do. I'm just not interested, and everything's a big fight all the time, and we're way too polarized. It doesn't mean I don't root for my country. It just means that everything is always the women's soccer, this, that, and the other. they don't ever talk about the wrestler who just won the gold. Did you guys see her?
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, she was fantastic.
I think you made a post about it, right? Didn't you make a post?
Yeah, I did. If they would highlight Olympians like that, you would get your ratings back, because people want to root for Americans. Democrat, Republican, we all want to root for Americans. We don't want to root for Americans who are trying to act superior with their opinions and shove it down our throats. What I think. I mean, I hated the soccer team lost, but at the same time, they took a lot of heat when they lost and people were applauding. I get it, because they politicized their positions.
So let me attack. So you're talking about LeBron James and Nike's paying him all this money, and while he's getting money from these Chinese labor laws and all this stuff. But let me tell you something. Nike actively tried to go into China and raise those people wages. And guess what happened to them? They got called to the carpet by the government and said, listen, we can't afford to pay them people that. If you pay them people that, we're going to raise wages everywhere. And so, it's you can't.
But Nike they don't have to be over there.
Well, they do because that's where they started at, and that's where the that's where the whole thing started at. If you you can read a book called Shoe Dog. It's by Phil Knight. It's the Phil Knight biography.
I don't need to read a book about it. Are they an American company? Yes or no?
Yes.
I rest my case. They're an American company. They do not have to be in China.
Right.
They choose to be in China.
Right. You're right. You know what? You're right.
Yeah. The facts are there. But I get what you're saying.
That's where they had to go to get their start at. They didn't start out as a multi-million-dollar corporation. They started out as mom and pops. We're selling shirts, printing our swoosh on a T-shirt that doesn't belong to us. That's how they started. And they got called to the carpet by trying to raise wages in those countries where people aren't getting paid. And so the sweatshop thing, it's really it's almost like every other issue that we bring up here on this podcast. It's not as black as white as we want to think it is.
Right.
There's always that gray there. And you're talking about, people being protected by guards and LeBron being living in his mansion, being protected by guards while he's tweeting about anti-gun things. But there's a way difference between somebody who's been trained to own a firearm and somebody who hasn't been trained at all, who reads on a third grade reading level. It's a way different thing. So it's not fair either.
That is absolutely not true.
Let me tell you something. So you believe that the person that you believe the person
third grade level can't shoot a gun?
One at a time.
I believe that the person on the third grade reading level shouldn't and couldn't and wouldn't and never should have access to a gun the same way as a person who is a competent functioning member of our society. Absolutely. Write that down right now and take a note of it.
Says who? Says the left?
Says everybody with common sense.
Have you ever met people who have learning disabilities that have trouble reading? So you're saying that if somebody has trouble reading, that they are completely incompetent and useless in society.
They shouldn't be firing a gun.
No. That's what you said. So you're telling me that people who have learning disabilities are completely useless.
Yes. I said they shouldn't be firing a gun.
Oh no, they can hunt, they can fish, they can play basketball, they can do all kinds of things.
They should be going AR-15 for sure.
No, an AR-15. My God, you guys, an AR-15s, y'all hump that. I mean, seriously, I think the Democrats literally would hump AR-15s if you handed it to them.
I'm sorry, AR-10s.
AR-15s.
M14s, how about that?
M1A1s,
M1A1s, is that good for you?
Speaking of AR-15s, did you see where the Vermont reporter... Did you see that? Me too. What, you think because I've got a pair of titties
I don't,
can't talk guns?
I'm not going to back down from guns, because I was in the military. I'm not scared of them. Let's go.
You were in the Guard, and guess what? I grew up as a girl having to keep up with boys. So don't be talking guns to me. I can shoot. I was the first girl to shoot my way on the rifle range, where it was ran by a bunch of big-bellied white men who work for the Department of Defense, thinking they're big dicks. I got my way in there with my little 125-pound body and my push-up bra, and guess what? My rifles. I can outshoot you any day. Matter of fact, we'll meet up on the rifle range.
Me, but we'll go out anytime you want to.
The thing is, what I think she's saying though, JD. What I think she's saying is too, though, there are a number of people around here that I guarantee you can't read that can handle a firearm very well.
Oh no! Let him sit in his bed he made.
I will. Absolutely.
I appreciate you though, Jimmy Don, trying to defend me. But let's be honest. JD said that if you're not educated, you can't use a firearm. That's what you said.
No. So what I'm saying is, and the point I think that unless it got lost in translation somehow, is that if you can't aren't a competent person and you can't function in society, then you shouldn't be owning guns that can kill people.
You know what kills me about Democrats?
You believe that or not? Should everybody own guns?
You guys act like you love people and you want to coexist and let's just hug everybody. Let's hug them all and let's be their best friend. Unless they're illiterate, then they are not allowed to be in society. They can't own a gun. They can't have the same rights as I do. Illiteracy.
Mentally retarded people should own a gun, right, Don? Is that what you're saying?
You didn't say mentally retarded. You said
no. I said let's take it to where you want to take it to, like you are. Let's take it to where you want to take it.
I'm here. I'm right here. So, your words were a third grade level.
So mentally retarded people should own guns and stuff. Is that what you're saying?
I did not say that.
No,
you're the one that said that.
No, I did not say that. So I'm asking you.
I think it would be case by case.
No, okay.
But it would be case by case. Go ahead.
Well, let's move on here. I want to get on to something else that has that. No, I want to get on to something here that is similar to this, and that was Congresswoman Cori Bush coming out this week and talking about how people shouldn't have guns, but yet she has armed security.
Who is this?
And she came out. It was Cori Bush. She's one of the squad. She came out this week and said that people shouldn't.
I disagree with that.
She had armed security. And hypocritical. And then she went on to see, and it was funny because the left really showed themselves there in the way that they think. And I think in what Don's point is she really came out. What she said was this. She said, look, I am too important. I am important on this earth right now. I'm out there fighting for people, so I need security. Well, and what she was saying was, look, you're not important. You're living in the ghetto. Crime is high right now. It's high as it's ever been in democratic cities. People are dying every single night in these cities. Okay. You can clap all you want, dude. Those are statistics.
Right.
Those are statistics.
I know it is. Go ahead.
They're 100%. Crime is up all over this country.
And it's in Republican cities too, but there ain't no Republicans in charge of cities. But go ahead.
Republican cities, sure. And they rank like 28th and 29th. So we're the major
behind Democrat
cities in this country. Every single one of them, dude. I don't make the statistics up. That's just what they are.
I know.
So it is, but crime is up everywhere, and you've got a congresswoman telling you to your face that I am more important than you are, and I deserve to have armed security, and you don't. Because it's all about defund the police. You shouldn't, there should be no police. There should be no this. And that's exactly what she was saying, JD, is she was saying, defund the police. You don't deserve the same protection that I do as a congresswoman.
So who you talk to? Me right now?
Yeah, you go ahead. I'm firing at you.
So, I disagree with the congresswoman. Okay. I believe that people have the right to bear arms. I really do believe that. I don't think that and we'll go back all night long, but I don't think the person that's incompetent down the road who hasn't shown himself competent should not have the right to bear arms. I really don't think that. 100%. Reading is fundamental. If you read on the third grade reading level, then you shouldn't be owning a 12 gauge. You shouldn't own a 7 millimeter. You shouldn't own a 243. You shouldn't own a 243.
JD, I know, but this country was founded by men who were probably reading on a third grade level. I mean, they didn't have a lot of education back then.
The people who were calling shots were not people who read around third grade level.
But everybody had guns. I mean, come on.
You were working in a coal mine. You were working in a coal mine underground with equipment with guys that there were several down there that probably couldn't read.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's
what I'm telling you. And smart as tax, dude, they're just smart. Now, the mentally handicapped is a different conversation.
Right.
But when you're talking about people, that mentally handicapped is a completely different conversation. But when you're talking about people
where do we draw that line at?
where's the mentally? I think if you can't read on third grade level at 25, you're probably mentally handicapped, right?
I understand what you're saying about drawing the line. The problem is who draws the line, because if we hand over,
who does draw the line?
Right,
who does?
So let's say that we hand it over and we say, okay, we're gonna pick a category of people who can own guns. Who gets to select those people? You know where they're going to punt that to? They're going to punt that to like psychologists and people like that. They notoriously lean left.
People, by the way,
they totally lean left. They're never going to give anybody a fair shake. And I know that they're going to say, oh, we have ethics codes, moral codes, and all this stuff. But let me tell you, psychology leans crazy left. It's not that I'm slamming it and saying it's, let's disrespect the profession. I'm not. I'm just saying I would question if there's a profession that is 99% left leaning could make a good argument for why a Republican or anybody who has a dissenting opinion would be able to own a firearm. You would leave it in those areas.
That is not exact. That is exactly so. I'll be the 1% that you're talking about then, because you said 99%. I'll be the 1%. I don't think that Jimmy Don. I don't have a problem in the world with Jimmy Don having a gun.
I'm talking. I didn't say liberals. I said psychologists. The psychology.
Oh, I thought you said that we're liberals, though. I thought you did that.
No, I know plenty of Democrats that honestly are pro-gun.
Yeah, I'm pro-gun.
And they have jumped. They've jumped, and they, it's funny. They'll vote Democrat, but then they try to handle their gun stuff on the state level. But either way, I'm talking about psychologists. If you would leave it, who gets to draw the line on who owns firearms?
I think the state does, right? I would imagine, like the state should be allowed to.
Because we're talking about mental stuff, so they're going to pick mental health experts, and that field is notoriously liberal.
But so what? Who cares? What's that mean?
I care.
Why? Because you think the people who are mentally stable are going to end up with the guns? That's the way it should be. The people who are mentally stable should end up with the guns. The people who are educated should end up with the guns. The people who are trained, they should end up with the guns. Not the people who are down the road who end up being birthed into a $1 million family. His dad's a Republican, and he reads on third grade reading level, and he can buy all the guns. He can buy a Black Hawk helicopter. I don't agree with that. I'm sorry.
I care because the people who probably would be in charge of getting to pick who owns guns cannot reasonably or critically think when it comes to talking to someone who does not have the same opinion, period. That's where my problem would be. I don't trust them.
I don't think it's about a dissenting opinion. I think it's about competence in the people who are getting the guns.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess if we left it up to you, people who, can't read or go to college or pass whatever can't own a firearm.
Well, people can't read and can't prove that they're competent should not have a firearm. I do believe that. I'll die on that hill. Absolutely.
Yeah. And how are they going to prove that competency to you, JD, since you are the superior gun god? How do they prove that?
Maybe graduate high school. I think that'd be good. I actually think that would be a great litany test. If you graduate high school, you can own a gun.
So you're going to fly out the sky and say, "Here you go, JD grants you the wisdom," because that's how you all come off. I don't think that's not how we come off. That's exactly how you come off.
We have degrees. We have people in the systems. We know if they graduated the test or not. And if you can pass that test and you're literate, you can do it.
You know what? You guys think?
Go ahead, Jamie.
No, it was just here. I just thought that I wanted to pop this up here. Here in Florida, I have to obtain my carry conceal license to buy a handgun. Like when I was Kentucky, I could just buy one. Interested in your opinion on that law about handguns, as I can still buy a rifle, mind you.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. I think it's a common sense
I think
law.
I don't mind background checks. I mean, I think as far as checking people out, I don't mind that. I think common sense is just when it gets down to, like Don's saying, the people who get to decide, that's the problem.
Wait a minute. Jamie's a female, so she cannot buy. You're telling me in the state of Florida, you can't buy a handgun unless she goes and gets a concealed carry?
I don't think it has anything to do with her being a female, though.
Oh, hell yeah, it does.
I think that's just...
I think it's because she's a person.
No, I know that, but women should be able, if there's anybody that should be able to purchase handguns without having to jump through loops, it's females.
But everybody should be able to buy a handgun, and they should they have to have a background check, period.
She didn't say that. This is concealed carry. She has to obtain her concealed carry license
to buy a handgun. Right, absolutely.
And that's insane.
I don't think it's insane. I think it's a common sense thing to me. It doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah, I just want to make sure I read that right. It's not background check, right? It's concealed carry.
No, it's carry.
It's a background check.
Yeah.
I'm telling my concealed carry. She can't buy a handgun until she gets a concealed carry. Is what it sounds like to me.
Here you
My
go,
wife
brother.
says,
I have to
people
retain my
graduated
concealed
college
carry.
Are some of the dumbest people I've ever met, and some people I know who didn't graduate high school have been some of the smartest people I ever met. There's some truth to that. I mean, I had a guy build a house one time that couldn't read a book. He never graduated high school, but he could look at an angle and just he would do some kind of crazy math. But from your definition, those people shouldn't own handguns.
So there's always outliers. What I say is that is, a litmus test that would we could give to everybody in the nation that if you didn't graduate high school and you can't read, you're not a competent person, then you shouldn't be owed a handgun. And I don't think that's
education and intelligence to me are two different things.
They are two different things. But
I know, but we don't know. We don't know if somebody who
let's give everybody
can't be competent.
So let's give everybody one then, right?
If they need a handgun, have it.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. I think we've that was a good debate. I enjoyed that as far as the debate goes. And I do want to move on though, because we do have this other topic and I think it's important. And it's something that's been, really big this week, and that is we'll just say New York City. They are looking, and I think they've already started, that you actually have to, there are vaccine mandates. You basically have to show a card, your vaccine card or your papers, to be able to go into a restaurant and eat, to be able to go into buildings. You have to be vaccinated. And Mayor de Blasio has basically said, look, the only way we can get these people to get vaccinated is not let them do what they want to do, and then they'll eventually go get vaccinated. And Don, let's start with you on this one. I just want to know what your thoughts are on vaccine mandates and requiring people. You can't walk into a restaurant in New York City if you've not been vaccinated.
I think that's absolutely un-American. You can't go into a restaurant. You can't go into any type of gym, I guess. Are we talking about the same state where President Obama just hosted a birthday party maskless for hundreds of people, but yet this state is requiring vaccine mandates for the common folk to go in and have a dinner, and they rule out their children? When you do these vaccine mandates, you do realize that there's a huge population that can't get the vaccine, not just children, people who have medical problems, people who have religious exemptions. So what we're seeing right now is we're seeing a government that wants to dictate and choose everything for us. Right now, the vaccines, I think we're up over 70%, which was Biden's go. You have to add in, did y'all hear that? I said go. That's how he's from Kentucky. That's President Biden's go. To hell with that L. I don't need no L's. Anyway, his goal was 70%. We reached that. And then you have to add in the natural immunity. People who have the natural immunity, that's probably going to bump us up to, 80%, maybe 75, 80%. I don't know what we're stretching for here, but mandating people to go into a restaurant, I get what they're trying to do. I understand that. I think that people should get vaccinated. Don't get me wrong. I just don't believe that you should be penalized for not getting vaccinated. We have people who have antibodies. The last I checked, an antibody is an antibody. You can develop an antibody with a natural infection just as much as you can with a vaccine.
So I'm actually going to agree with a lot of what Don said there. As much as that surprises everybody, I think if the federal government mandated it, it would be a way different thing. But I also think we have to make a distinction here between state and federal mandation. The federal government is not going to mandate it. The state mandated it. I'm not a fan of it. I don't like it.
You're wrong. The federal government is already
the federal government has not mandated it for the state of New York and only New York.
No, the federal government is looking to. They're going to mandate it. They're mandating it for federal employees. That's the same, JD.
So right now in the state of New York, to go into bars or restaurants, it's a state of New York thing, right, Don, or no?
Mm-hmm. From what I understand,
yes,
it's New York.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So it's a state government thing. It's not the federal government. The federal government has not stepped into that. They have inside federal buildings, absolutely. I'm not a fan of that either. I don't think that the federal government should mandate people to get vaccines. But also, like Don, I understand what they're trying to do and trying to get people to get the vaccines. And, I'm not a fan of mandating the vaccine, but, I feel like the people are just not in any circumstance. I can't think where people just did the right thing based on what they should do, what should be done. The government has always had to mandate people to do the right thing, and that's what's going to end up happening in this situation as well, I think.
Well, here's my thing. Ask anybody that knows me. Try to make me do something.
Right.
Try to make me, and see what happens. I will wall up, and I am a person that is. I think I will eventually get the vaccine. It's just that I want to see, and we said this last week when we were talking to the doctor. I want to see FDA approval. I want to see some other things before I probably do it. But make me and see what happens. Right. And I will never get that vaccine. I mean, it is, they can mandate me. They say, well, you can't go to the Kentucky football games. Well, guess what? I will set my happy ass at the house and watch it on my TV. I will not make me do it. And now you've got hospitals that are telling people that if you don't get vaccinated, you could lose your job.
Right. And remember,
what are we coming to here?
Right.
No, I'm not.
Where does it end?
So that's private businesses doing what they think is best for their customers. And so I don't have a problem with that at all, man. Those are private. Jimmy Don, you're a private guy, right? You're the wolf entrepreneur, the wolf capitalist. You believe in that. So if a private business as a hospital wants to mandate their employers to have vaccines, then I'm all for that, man. I'm not gonna. If they didn't mandate it, I'll be all for that.
I can say, I hate to say it, but I'm with JD. I'm all about capitalism, and I'm all about private businesses getting to determine how they're going to run their business. So I kind of get that. I hate it. I don't agree with it. I think that they should be given options. I know when my entire career, and then suddenly here they come in and they say, we're going to mandate flu vaccine. And I'm like, Jimmy Don, if you tell me I've got to take a flu vaccine, all of a sudden I don't want it, although I've taken it for 22 plus years. And then they gave me an option. They said, okay, if you don't take your flu vaccine, then you just wear a mask from September to May. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. So here you go.
Take the shot, right?
Yeah. But it was either that or choose another hospital to work at. So I'm kind of iffy on that.
Oh, no, I disagree with both of you wholeheartedly. Like, I would never, ever tell my employees that you cannot earn a living.
Yeah, no, we're not saying that. No matter what you do or not,
do the private institutions have the right to do that, though?
Yeah, we're not saying that. I don't agree with them doing
I mean, technically, I guess they do.
Yeah, that's what we're saying.
That's the end of the discussion.
But I hope that they do, and somebody sues them for every dime they have and breaks them in half. That's what I hope they do, because just as much as that company has the right to do something as nonsensical as that and as un-American as telling somebody that you have to make – hold on, I will. As un-American as telling somebody what they have to do to be able to earn that living. I hope somebody sues them so hard that it breaks their institution in half, and we never have to deal with this again. That is as much that person's right as it is that hospital's right to lay them off. Sure. Which one is that? Harrison here?
Michael Harrison. Absolutely. I agree with him.
Now, I understand about a private company saying that you have to have a vaccine. That is the same as the dress code at work. You don't have to be prepared to suffer the consequences or not, and that may be. But I hope somebody
don't get the vaccine, but be prepared to be fired for it.
Yeah.
Right. Dress code and what I do with my personal health are two completely different things.
Yeah, I don't think that's to do with your personal health. Nobody's down with your vaccine, bro. So it's not like it's their personal health.
Well, with this vaccine, we really it is experimental. We don't have long-term data. I don't agree that they should mandate. I don't think that we have long-term data on all of our vaccines except for
because they've been around since 1940s.
Right. So when you mandate those, and people, don't really have a lot to. I mean, although they're still going to argue it. Honestly, we've proven ourselves with that one. When it comes to the COVID, I wouldn't mandate it if I was a privately held company. I wouldn't do it. I'm like Jimmy Don, but I would want to reserve the right to be able to run my company the way I choose.
I'm not saying that I would either, but I agree with you, Don.
Yeah.
I would want the right to be able to.
I think we're all in agreement.
Yeah.
Hey, write it down.
I think me and you were in agreement. I'm not agreeing.
I think Jimmy Don's with us too, actually.
No, I don't. You have the right to run your company, but you also have the right to get your ass suit off. And that's what I hope happens. I hope somebody does it, and I hope the nurses union or whoever it is, and I am not necessarily a union person, I hope they break some hospital in half over trying to mandate somebody's personal health choices to be able to come to work and make a living. Period. Look, dude, I don't care if you think that I should get the vaccine. If I choose not to get that vaccine and I contract COVID and I die, that is my choice. Period. It's my fault. I make bad choices every day of my life. I could make a choice driving down the road tomorrow.
Nobody's disputing that, bro.
Yeah. Well, but you are, because you're saying it is. There should never, ever.
I'm saying the company can dispute whether they want to make that a mandatory thing or not, and they absolutely can. You know what? I guarantee you, if I wore a shirt into Alliance Water Resources on Monday said I hate all black people, I would get my ass fired. But I still got freedom of speech. That doesn't mean I have a right from the consequences of freedom of speech.
Right.
So that is absolutely on point with what I'm saying. What you're saying is offbeat, absolutely offbeat.
No, and I agree that a private company should have the choice to do so.
Okay.
But I also I agree with that 100%.
Yeah. So then we agree. Yeah.
Yeah, we 100% agree about that. But I also think that it is discriminatory to do this with COVID. That's the thing. It is discriminatory, and somebody's going to get sued, and somebody's going to win. And I'm just telling you, it is just for me. I would never do that. I would never make my employees make a decision. All my employees are vaccinated.
I would give them an option. I would, if I felt that passionate about it, I'd go, look, I want you to get it vaccinated, but because I value you as an employee, if you don't want to, then you need to come in masked and face shield and gown, and this is how you're going to do until our case counts, whatever. But they're not giving them options. I think it's terrible. These healthcare people have fought, and remember, nobody had that vaccine last year. And also,
Jimmy Don doesn't work in the healthcare industry where people are coming in with fragile health either, where they can be exposed to that, and that could be the end of them. Versus if they had the vaccine, they might protect the people that are coming in.
I agree, and I work. This is how I make my money, but vaccinated people spread.
Well, they do. For sure.
So we still need to talk about.
But the percentages are way different than what they are versus non-vaccinated.
84% of the cases right now are people that are vaccinated.
Right, but also none of those people are going to the hospital. None of those people are dying.
Right,
so it's a way different thing.
A lot of those people are going to the hospital per the
that's
people
not true.
that I'm talking
Absolutely
to.
not. They're going like 6%.
I don't know. I got a guy that works over here at Paul B. Hall told me that a lot of people that are coming in are vaccinated.
We're talking about 6%. We're talking about 6% nationwide.
We do have vaccinated people coming in, guys, but the reason why is because we're getting so many people are getting their vaccines. The vaccines are not meant to stop it completely. I mean, we would love it if it did that, but that's not how your flu shot works. That's not how any other shot works. It means that it's supposed to make your symptoms less than. But back to the mandates. Hospitals and healthcare places that have used and utilized and depended on these people who showed up during this pandemic while everybody else is sitting at the house are now ready to fire people over this vaccine that we don't have long-term data on yet. I don't agree with it at all, but I'm smart enough to know that I want to reserve the right for the private companies to be able to do what they need to do.
So I agree with everything Dawn just said. I agree with that. But we're never, ever going to have long-term studies on this vaccine until people take the vaccine. That's just how it works. You can't have long-term studies and data on something that isn't ever employed. That's just not how things go.
Well, and when we talk about,
I think that right here, this Knox Bailey, which I think is Todd, says at the peak of 3,500 people died a day. We're at 500 now, mainly non-vaccinated. Why are 500? Yep. Why did it change? What happened? What was the difference between 3,500 people a day dying and 500 people a day dying? It was the vaccine, guys.
It is. And we've got our elderly people who die of COVID are vaccinated. So, that's what got them.
Yeah, and I agree with that. And those 500 people made a choice. Maybe it was the wrong choice, but they made a choice, and there should be a choice, period.
Right. But then you shouldn't have the choice to contaminate the rest of the world, bro. You shouldn't have the choice to
JD,
give it to your mom.
All right, so one person, it's always all I hear is this one person. So I looked this up this week because I heard this and I thought it was interesting.
Okay.
So we don't want one person to die, right? You know,
Sure.
one person, we got to protect them.
Yeah.
40,000 people died last year in car accidents.
Sure.
Half of those people died because somebody else hit them and they
Speeding or
died.
drinking. Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
So we know that. We don't want one person to die, so we should all do 20 miles an hour on the highway.
No, we should do the right speed limit. We should do the speed limits. Absolutely.
No,
that's why there are speed limits. Actually, that's a great point. That's how you know the government does not care about you, is because they make cars that can go over the 65-mile-an-hour speed limit.
Mother Absolutely. Of pearl. Y'all going to make me drink alcohol up in here.
Yeah. Well, and then you've got 600,000 people, which is about the same as people that died with COVID last year that died of cancer. And we do not push near as hard for cancer research as we do for COVID and getting people vaccinated.
You're just talking about last 2 years, bro. Cancer's been around. We've been pushing for cancer for 40 years, so that's not even. I'm not even going to address that.
Okay, well, let's touch on heart disease. Nobody seems to give two shits about heart disease. Matter of fact,
everybody does, but you're not going to give heart disease. I'm not going to give heart disease to my mom.
I get what you're saying.
My actions. So it's a way different thing.
I get what you're saying, and before I get off on a tangent and have to point out what Jimmy Don is saying is accurate, I will go back to what you're saying is also accurate, JD, because this virus is not about just the virus. It's about the virus taking up our room in the hospital to where we can't take care of the heart attacks, the strokes, the mamas who coming in, hemorrhaging because they just had a baby. That's where we've got to watch our hospitals. But let's also look at last year. They were all about let's protect the hospitals. Yeah, let's protect the hospitals. This year we're not hearing any of that. I mean, and then we've got different sets of rules. You've got New York doing this vaccine mandate, and then you have Obama hosting his grand birthday
party.
Put
Jason Hill's thing up there. Put Jason Hill's comment up there. Where did the flu go? It's amazing where the flu goes when people wear masks and wash their hands. Mm-hmm. It's amazing what you can do.
Yeah, it's also amazing that all the numbers are COVID numbers instead of flu numbers. It's
because
amazing.
People are wearing masks and washing their hands.
No, we did. They did have some trouble with the testing. It was calling everything COVID. But I can tell you, firsthand experience, COVID is definitely real. It definitely takes out people. It's like it just cherry picks who it wants. One person might have a snotty nose, and this next person's getting a tube shoved down their throat.
Yeah, it completely disappeared. Like there is no flu, there is no strep throat, there's no nothing because everything is COVID. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just you guys can say what you want to say. I look at numbers for a living, and it's surprising. It just really is. There's no flu, there's nothing but COVID. Yeah,
what numbers are you talking about, Jimmy Don? The
CDC
COVID death
numbers. You look at the CDC numbers. You look at all those things. It is, that's what we're supposed to look at, right? That's what the Democrats want us to look at is the CDC numbers. I look at them.
The Democrats not the CDC definitely doesn't want you to look at them.
I think the CDC is. I think the CDC.
I know it's been politicized. It's fine.
The CDC has already proven themselves incompetent.
All right, so let's jump into the last topic, and this has to do.
And by the way, just so you know, the flu didn't go away. I know people personally who had the flu last year. So go ahead.
Yeah, it just got reported as COVID instead of the flu.
No, it was reported as flu.
So because of the test, just anyway, we'll talk about that off air. Anyway, last thing, and this has to kind of do with like the debate that we're having right now, except we were having a friendly debate, right? And apparently Jennifer Aniston made this post that said that she is no longer friends with people who are unvaccinated. And it has led to this trend of people basically unfriending people or not being friends now with people because they don't have because they didn't take the vaccine. And I just wonder, JD, let's start with you on this one. I just wonder what you think about people unfriending people.
So people are way less tolerant than I am. Even the people who claim to be tolerant are way less tolerant than I am, in my opinion. I mean, I'm not jerking my own chain or nothing like that. But I can be friends with people who haven't been vaccinated. I can be friends with people who love Trump. I can be friends with people who think that red's the best color over green. I think green's the best color, but whatever. So I don't need your opinion to be on par with mine. Do I think you're mistaken? Absolutely. Does that mean you can't get along, Jimmy Don, and have a hot dog and a beer and watch a ball game together and have a fucking killer time? Absolutely not. So I couldn't disagree with Jennifer Aniston more. Really.
Right. I think she's as irrelevant as the day is long. Yeah. I mean, honestly, and I think she's clearly closed-minded. And I don't know, if this was all about vaccinating the population, then they would bring other vaccines to market. But instead, they run with Pfizer and they run with Moderna, and they kick out the more traditional vaccines over to Europe. So Jennifer Aniston, she doesn't do a thing for me. Never did. I mean,
can't agree more, both of you, with what you said. I think it's just the silliest thing I've ever heard. I mean, it is so silly. All right, so we'll make this our last one, and that's Governor Cuomo. Sure. Finally, I guess, is getting his comeuppance, as we like to say here in the hills, with the sexual assault allegations. And I listened to his pre-taped response the other day, and the guy that said that, when they were talking about Trump and they were talking about all these other people, Kavanaugh, that, the women should be heard. And, it's that said the complete opposite of that when 12 cases come out against him. And now they're looking to, I guess, essentially impeaching, as New York governor. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and charge him. So, Dawn, we'll let you start on that one. What's your thoughts on Cuomo?
He's just another man in power that says one thing and touches titties the next day. I mean, I have nothing for him. He needs to be kicked as far as he could be kicked. But we'll see if they do that. I don't know if he'll ever go anywhere. We'll see if they do that.
So I love that answer. Jimmy Don, I want to get your answer on it. So go ahead.
So as far as I don't think anything will happen to him.
No, I didn't. Yeah, good.
I don't think a thing will happen to him. To be honest with you, I don't think he'll get impeached. I don't think that they live by the same rules that we are required to live by. There are two justice systems. There is the elite class justice system. Sure. Same with Trump. All the crap that Trump was accused of, nothing ever happened. Right. Nothing's going to happen to Cuomo. And, you've got his brother Chris on CNN who was peddling this BS too, telling him what to do. Nothing will happen to him either. I think that 100% he should be burnt at the stake. It touched my daughter. We would have public execution, and it's a shame that is no longer a thing. But nothing will happen to him, and it's not because he's a Democrat. It is because he is in this elite class, and nothing will happen.
It's because he's an elite man.
Then when it's my turn, because I'm going to go.
Okay.
Bring it.
So I find it totally hypocritical coming from people who voted for Trump to say that this guy should step down or this guy should get burned to the stake or get fired or whatever, because you had a president. When you only care about sexual assault, when it's on the other party, we have a problem. Because Trump admitted on tape to walking up and grabbing women between the legs. And how would you feel if that was your daughter?
As far as I know,
did he get charged?
No, it don't matter. What does charges matter? If he walked up, I don't care if anybody was around. He walked up and grabbed her between legs, I'd knock his fucking teeth out. Mm-hmm. I don't care about no charges. What's charges got to do with anything?
Well, I would too.
So what's charges got to do with it then? Tell me.
Well, we're talking about Cuomo getting impeached. We're talking about
Cuomo being held accountable. We're talking about Cuomo being held accountable for what he did. So Cuomo should have to step down, and that's exactly what Joe Biden said, right?
That's another one. I mean, where did Tara Reid go? Joe Biden sniffs kids like my dog. My dog cannot sniff assholes as well as Joe Biden can sniff children.
So I think that was weird what Joe Biden did, but Joe Biden has a crystal clear record. Look, nobody's ever come out. I think one lady came out against Joe Biden, and it was proved in the investigation, was proved to be false. What Donald Trump has done is admitted on tape, and he paid a porn star off to keep his peculiarities in secret. Is that right or no? Am I wrong?
Bill Clinton literally had a blowjob in the Oval Office, spooged all over a 22-year-old girl, and him and his wife completely ended
So
her
it don't
career.
matter what
And
everybody else
you
done.
voted for his wife. You voted for his wife.
I did
Joe
not.
Biden's
I did not vote for his wife. That's where you're wrong.
where we need
That's
to
where you're wrong.
agree is this happens across the board, Democrat and Republican, and it needs to be squashed across the board, Democrat and Republican.
So let's not vote for people. Let's quit voting for people and defending people who are grabbing people by the pussy in.
I didn't vote
Period.
for somebody who was being criminally charged and investigated for it.
But that's not true, because he was criminally charged about walking in on your dressing room in a Miss
JD,
USA pageant on teenage girls.
And Lord have mercy, and you know I love you boys better than anything, but let's be honest, you guys, all of you boys talk about girls the way that Trump did.
Oh, so it's okay then. You're right.
No, it's not okay.
It's okay.
It's not okay at all. I love how your voice gets. No, it's not. I'm just saying, you guys are really up on a pedestal right now when this is a man's problem. Quit touching women. Quit touching us.
Amen.
Quit
I'm with you, girl. I'm with you. What do you want to do?
And then if women reject you, don't threaten to fire them. Don't threaten to go after them. Democrat or Republican. Trump's douchey. Kumo's douchey.
What should I do? Since I'm not doing any of those things and I'm backing you up, what should I do?
What do you mean? What should you do?
I mean, I'm backing you up. Like, I'm not going to vote for that guy who sexually assaulted women. But then you're going to go out and vote for the guy? That's not.
But you vote for the guy that snitched children.
Bro,
no,
you're always trying to make that sniff children thing a thing, but it's just not.
Dude, there's video evidence.
It's weird. It is definitely weird. But it's weird. But Donald Trump admitted, I mean, he said on tape, he said, I'll walk up and grab him by the pussy. I promise you, if he walks up and grabs my daughter by the pussy, he's leaving without teeth.
Right.
Period.
Tara,
I don't care if he's
something.
Anything. I'm not voting for him for sure.
Tara Reid.
So now back that up now. So
I just did. You guys wanted Hillary Clinton, who is worse.
I didn't vote for Hillary.
It doesn't matter. That's what your party put us ahead. They put Hillary Clinton and then Joe Biden. Is Tara Reid not a woman? The last time I checked, she was a woman. The last time I checked, Me Too and Time's Up said believe the women. Unless it's Tara Reid.
Because sometimes, but when they do an investigation like they did with Cuomo, and when you have somebody admitted to it, like you do Trump, then you gotta believe the women. Right?
I'm just saying.
You can't always believe women.
Right. I'm just saying. And Jason Rundle, look at Jason Rundle. Donald wasn't in office. And don't get me wrong. Everybody should detest how Donald Trump talks about women. Everybody should detest how your uncle, how your husband, how your boyfriend, how your brother talk about women. That is something you guys need to change on your own. Quit touching us.
I agree. But don't vote for the guy, though. Don't go out and say that. Then go vote for him.
But the other choice, JD, was a woman who destroyed another woman because her husband did that to her in the Oval Office.
Not just another woman.
No. Here we're not going to do this.
Oh, yes, it is.
Just because.
Yes, we are. Dude, it calls space.
Just because Hillary Clinton made a bad decision doesn't mean it's okay for Donald Trump to grab women by the pussy.
No, it doesn't. Nobody said that.
No.
Yeah.
So it's okay for. So is it okay or not for Trump to do that?
It is not okay for anybody to do that.
So it's not.
But you're still going to vote for him if he does do it.
JD, of course we're going to vote.
Exactly right.
Yes, we're going to vote, but you're going to vote for Hillary, just like you're going to vote for Hillary.
I didn't vote for Hillary.
Did this to a woman.
You're debating with me. You're not debating with the Democratic Party. You're debating with me. So I didn't vote for Hillary.
Okay.
So you can't do that. So that's not going to work. That's not going to fly. So did you all vote for Trump after he was on tape saying he grabbed women by the pussy?
Yes, I did.
Yes.
I did.
Okay.
I sure did.
Then you ain't got no right to talk about nothing about
Cuomo.
Do.
Oh, yes, I do. Yeah,
because of course we do, man. I mean, the thing is the other choice for the other reasonable choice was a woman who destroyed another woman.
You're going to vote Trump in. Is that right? Cuomo should step down,
Seriously.
but Trump, you're going to vote Trump in.
It always goes back to Trump, doesn't it? Always. We ain't got no other argument, but it always goes back to Trump.
No,
you
because
ain't got no other argument. Give me
you got to be consistent.
We've talked about 20. We've talked about 20 different people, and you have said Trump. You got nothing else. Give me something else.
You're going back to 1990s, bro, with Clinton and Hillary. What are you talking about?
Hillary ran against Trump 4 years ago.
Yeah,
and I didn't vote for him. I didn't vote for him. So
Trump. Give me another example. Give me somebody other than Trump, please.
Matt Gaetz. How about that one? Will that work for you?
Oh, is that the little Republican congressman that looks like a day raper?
He's like, go ahead.
Give me another one. We can roll down the list.
No. You two are being cute with the Democrat-Republican thing. It's all
No,
men.
I'm not.
This is a
Because I'm
men
not voting
thing.
for Democrats,
Men. Stop touching women.
Cuomo
Stop it.
should resign.
That's right.
Just
Cuomo
stop
should
it.
resign. It ain't got nothing to do with him being a Democrat.
Yeah,
I
it
don't
sounds
care
like
about
sounds
that.
like they got it. Yeah,
Agreed.
sounds like
Right.
they got it.
And Trump should never get voted for because he did the same thing. Period. Sorry. Go ahead.
Not unless you put
It's
us
all
up
good.
against Hillary Clinton.
That's right. Put him up against somebody else other than Hillary Clinton.
But you
Did
didn't
worse.
vote for him against Joe Biden either. You voted for him again. You voted for him twice.
Hillary Clinton
You
did
voted for him
worse.
twice.
Tara
Because Joe
Reid,
Biden smells
she's a
kids'
real
heads.
woman. Tara
Of
Reid's a
course.
real
I
woman.
know, bro.
He's
You're going to believe
weird.
everything they throw at you. I know. I understand. You're going to believe
And
everything
don't
they throw
believe
at you. I got you.
anything, and you don't believe anything that you see if it doesn't go with your
I
narrative.
just said that Cuomo should resign, bro. What do you mean to say?
Look, you can say what you want. Trump. Keep saying Trump. All right, let's end it there. That was fun. Me and JD giving each other a hard time. We ain't done that in a while, JD, over Trump.
I'm
Trump.
sweating. I'm in the southern heat, sweating it off.
I love it. That was a fun show, man. That was a good time. A lot of good debate, a lot of good discussion. And then we get done and we're all friends, right? That's how it's supposed to be.
Absolutely. I love you
That's
both.
the point.
Absolutely.
I love you
guys.
both. That's right. I love both of you too. That's how it's supposed to be. So, guys, thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us on a Sunday evening this week and listening to us ramble on and debate. It's always a
I can't
good
believe that was an
time.
hour.
Burn up.
I know, right? It's crazy how fast it goes. So we appreciate you guys so much and all the support we've been getting. Don said it last week. Like, it's crazy, like how much support we're getting right now. And group hug. Let's all hug. We appreciate it. Of course, Don's running social media now. You can tell, right?
I know JD is too.
I throw something in there around there.
Don't
JD's
give
in
him
there.
credit. Don't give him any credit. No. Social media, Instagram, Facebook, we're
Thank you, Betty Jo.
everywhere. Yes,
look at her.
thank you, Betty Jo.
Everybody's so good.
Yeah.
I love it.
So, no, we appreciate it. Of course, guys, you can find us anywhere you can find podcasts, iHeart, iTunes, Amazon, Podbean. That's where we actually launched the podcast from. And as we always end our show, from myself, from JD, and from Don, no matter how bad your week's been, no matter how bad your day's going, if you just add bourbon, it always gets a little bit better.